What if I told you one band helped end a war? Not a real war, a punk war. Back in the 1980s, punk and metalheads often hated each other. Different clothes, different scenes, different clubs, different attitudes. But one band came along and smashed those walls down and mixed them together. A band so controversial that clubs banned them. A band so controversial, a band so feared, people thought they were gangs. The band makes hardcore punk melody and skate culture into street attitude and something different. That band was called Suicidal Tendencies. Without them, punk rock might look very, very different today. And they changed punk forever, in my opinion. But hey, that's my opinion, not yours. To understand the Suicidal Tendencies, you have to understand Southern California in the very early 80s. Punk was getting faster, hardcore was taking over the whole planet. And bands weren't trying to get on the radio, they were trying to get louder, faster, crazier. Then a kid named from Vincent Beach named Mike Merle, I think it's Merle. I'm sorry, I'm horrible at names. Merle didn't look like a rock kid. He didn't look like someone started fighting in a parking lot or set a trash can on fire. An image that will both become a blessing and curse when the suicidal tendencies form. They stood immediately, they had hardcore energy, but there was something different about them. Something heavy, something darker, something they didn't fit in the punk rulebook. Something that made people very uncomfortable. In 1983, they released their debut album, The Suicidal Tendencies, the only Suicidal Tendencies album I own on CD. But getting back into that, and the buried in the record became the legendary Institute. Uh, Institute is one of the most legendary songs of all time. If you haven't heard the whole song, you probably heard a part of it. It wasn't really sung. It was shouted, ranted, exploded. Mike Ross sound like a guy losing his mind. He sounded like he was on drugs. Probably. And that's exactly why people connected him with so much. The song became an anthem for every teenager who felt ignored, every kid who felt different, every person who tried telling an adult telling them how to live. And suddenly, this was underground punk. And had some people telling them to stop talking about. And the first time, they weren't paying attention. The band everybody feared. Now, this is where things get crazy. The Suicidal Tendencies developed a reputation unlike any other punk band. Fans wore blue bandanas, wore suicide shirts, and a huge group of, and before long rumors were spreading that some people were considering connecting to gang activities. Venom was nearly promoted as nervous. Wait, is it nervous? Police became nervous. Whether the stories were true or exaggerated, the damage were done. Some clubs even refused to put their venues outright banned them. Until now, of course. Getting back into it. So, imagine that. You're becoming one of the hottest bands in underground music. Half of the places won't let you play, and for many groups, that one it's ended career. Suicidal Tendencies, it only made them bigger. Because controversy created culture. A culture created by fans. Metal versus punk. Back in the 80s, punk and metal weren't best friends. In many places, couldn't stand each other. Punks thought metals were too cheesy. Metalheads thought punks musicians couldn't play. The scene, the scenes were divided. Then the Suicidal Tendencies did something no one expected. They started bringing both sides together. And the year went on, and the music got heavier. guitar riffs became more technical. The songs were more metallic, but they never lost their hardcore roots. Instead of building a bridge between two worlds, suddenly punk listeners listening to metal riffs, metalheads were showing up to punk shows, a new sound was born. Today, people for some reason call it thrash. I don't really know that much. It was not too punk for metal, it was not too metal for punk. It's the exact point. Suicidal Tendencies weren't intending filling into a catalog. They were trying to do something new. Soon, other bands started doing the same thing. The wall between scenes falling apart is impossible. And for a few years earlier, it was now becoming normal. The Suicidal Tendencies were in the middle. Why do they still matter? A lot of punk bands had great songs. A lot of punk bands had loyal fans. But a few tried changing the entire genre. Suicidal Tendencies, you can hear their influence everywhere. In hardcore, in skate punk, metalcore, and even modern heavy bands borrowed ideas from them. They mix aggression, musicianship, blueprint, and often newer bands often get credits from Suicidal Tendency in a real book. One time I could have saw them actually, but the only issue is that they made okay. The most annoying thing about trying to see shows, because I'm what some people call a younger fan for the music, and whenever I try, like listening when I listen to music, I'm like, oh, let me see the band. So a lot of punk venues are 18 plus. Like Bliss Skip one time played in like Tennessee, it was 18 plus. Suicidal Tendencies were eight. It was this was 18 plus. No, the album wasn't, but the show was 18 plus. That's something that sucks. The funny thing is though, the Suicidal Tendencies never really fit anywhere. They weren't purely punk. They weren't purely metal. They weren't mainstream. They were underground for so long, existed in their own lane, and maybe that's why they survived so long. While trends came and went, Suicide Machine stayed. Suicide Machine, no comparison, no pretending. When people talk about important bands from that era, they talk about Black Flag, the Misfits, the Ramones, the Sex Pistols, and that's fair. But the Suicidal Tendencies deserve to be in that conversation too. And they united and hated each other, influenced the sound, and they changed forever. Enjoy that video, like, subscribe. What's the greatest Suicidal Tendencies song of all time? What's your favorite album by them? What's your favorite song? This is Cole Punk. I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe. I'm broke. I have no money. Please.